When your cat headbutts you, do you actually know what that means? Yes, it feels affectionate, maybe even a little cute, but behind that simple gesture, there's something deeper that most people miss. It's one of the most intimate things your cat can do. And if you misunderstand it, which most owners do, you might be missing one of the clearest signs of trust your cat ever gives you. Let's start with what that headbutt really means. Have you ever been sitting quietly and your cat suddenly walks up and presses their head against your face or your hand? Most people think it's just a random sign of affection, but here's what's actually happening. That movement, often called bunting, is a deliberate form of communication. Your cat is not just being affectionate, they are initiating contact on purpose, choosing you in that moment. Cats are naturally cautious animals. They don't make physical contact without reason. So when your cat presses their head into you, it's not random, it's intentional. And emotionally, that matters more than you think, because your cat is crossing a boundary they usually protect. Think about that for a second. They're moving into your space, not pulling away, not observing from a distance, but choosing contact. And by the way, if your cat ever gently headbutts you and then lingers close instead of walking away, don't brush it off. We'll get to what that really means later, and it's something most owners wish they understood sooner. Have you ever wondered why cats use their heads specifically? Why not their paws or their tail? Most people assume it's just habit, but here's what's actually happening. A 2015 study from the University of Lincoln on feline social behavior found that cats use specific physical gestures, like head bunting, as a controlled form of social bonding. But here's the important part. They don't use it randomly. They use it selectively, and most often toward individuals they feel safest with. And what makes this even more meaningful is what happens biologically. Animal cognition research shows that when cats engage in positive social contact, their stress levels decrease. Their body shifts into a calmer, more relaxed state. That means when your cat headbutts you, they're not just expressing trust, they're experiencing it. Think about that. Your presence is literally calming their nervous system. And here's what most people don't realize. The way you respond in that moment reinforces it. If you respond gently, calmly, and with awareness, you strengthen that bond. If you ignore it or react abruptly, that moment passes without connection. And over time, your cat learns whether or not it's safe to keep reaching out. Now, here's where it gets even more powerful. Have you ever noticed your cat rubbing their head against furniture, corners, and then you? Most people think it's just rubbing, but here's what's actually happening. Cats have scent glands located around their forehead, cheeks, and chin. When they press their head into something, they're leaving behind invisible pheromones, chemical signals that mark familiarity and safety. So when your cat headbutts you, they're marking you. Think about that for a second. You're not just someone they live with, you're part of their territory, part of what feels safe. Behavioral scientists who study feline communication describe this as social scenting, a way cats build a shared identity with those they trust. And emotionally, that changes everything. Because your cat isn't just showing affection, they're saying, "You belong with me." And what makes this even more meaningful is that they're choosing to include you in something deeply instinctive, not because they have to, but because they want to. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. Have you ever seen kittens nudge their mother with their heads? That small, gentle push? Most people don't think much of it, but here's what's actually happening. This behavior starts early in life. Kittens use head nudging to seek comfort, warmth, and reassurance from their mother. It's one of the first ways they connect physically and emotionally. And in the wild, that connection is essential. It means safety, protection, survival. So when your adult cat headbutts you, they're tapping into something ancient, something wired into them from the very beginning. And here's where it gets even more powerful. They've transferred that instinct from their mother to you. Think about that. Your cat is using the same behavior they once used to bond with the one being that guaranteed their survival. And now they're using it with you. That's not small. That's not casual. That's deeply rooted trust. Now ask yourself this. Does your cat headbutt every person they meet, or is it mostly you? Most people assume cats behave the same with everyone, but here's what's actually happening. Studies on domestic cats reveal that cats form highly selective social bonds. They choose who they interact with, who they approach, who they trust. And headbutting, that's not a universal behavior. They don't do this with strangers. They don't do this with people they're unsure about. They reserve it for the people they feel closest to. Think about that for a second. Your cat could ignore you, stay distant, keep interactions minimal, but instead, they come to you. They initiate, they press their head against you. That's not random, that's selective connection. And what this reveals is simple but powerful. Your cat doesn't just live with you, they've chosen you. This is what most owners never realize. When your cat headbutts you, they're making themselves vulnerable. Have you ever noticed how close they get? Right near your face, your hands, your body. Those are sensitive areas. And in the wild, getting that close to another creature carries risk. But your cat does it anyway. Here's what's actually happening. They're lowering their guard completely. They're closing distance without hesitation, without fear. And emotionally, that's one of the clearest signs of trust an animal can show. Think about that. They're not watching you from afar. They're not staying alert. They're choosing closeness. And here's where it all connects. Remember earlier when I said if your cat headbutts you and then stays close instead of walking away? This is what I was talking about. When they linger, when they stay pressed against you, they're not just marking you or greeting you. They're seeking connection. They're saying, I feel safe here. And what makes this even more meaningful is that they're expecting nothing in return. No reward, no food, no outcome. Just presence. That's not behavior, that's trust. Now here's something you should never ignore. What if your cat used to headbutt you and suddenly stops? No more nudging, no more closeness, just distance. Most people think it's nothing, but here's what's actually happening. A change like that often means something has shifted, either emotionally or physically. Animal behavior research shows that when cats reduce social contact, it can indicate stress, discomfort, or a breakdown in routine. It doesn't mean your cat doesn't care anymore. It means something feels different to them. Think about that for a second. A change built on trust doesn't disappear without reason. So if it fades, pay attention. Create calm moments again. Give them space. Let them come to you. Because rebuilding that connection starts with noticing the absence of it. Don't ignore it. So when your cat headbutts you, do you actually know what that means? It's not just affection. It's not just a habit. It's communication. It's bonding. It's your cat choosing closeness over instinct. That small gesture is them saying, you're safe. You're mine. I trust you. That's not cute. That's devotion. And that simple headbutt, it was never small to them. And it shouldn't be small to you either.